Good morning, this is Dwayne, and today I'd like to talk about another chord progression called the 2-5-1 chord progression. You've heard it in music all the time. It's all over the place, 2-5-1 chord progression, but before we do that we need to take a look at secondary chords. Earlier we established that in any given key there's three primary chords. And they're primary because they're the major chords in that key. For example, if I'm talking about the key of C, the primary chords are C, F, and G because they're the major chords in that key. If I'm talking about the key of B flat, then B flat is the 1 chord, E flat is the 4 chord, and F's the 5 chord, and so on. Okay, and we've learned that well. 1, 4, 5 is are the major primary chords. Now there's such a thing as secondary chords too. And the secondary chords are, in the key of C, it would be the 2 chord, the 6 chord, and the 3 chord, and they're all minor. In other words, the second degree of the scale is D, so if I build a triad on D using the C scale, I'm going to come up with a D minor chord. Then the 6th chord is the next most used. On the 6th degree of the scale, in the key of C, that would be A minor. And the next most used is the 3 chord, built on the 3rd degree of the scale. And so they're all minor chords, aren't they? The 2 chord, the 6 chord, and the 3 chord. Okay? Now, you know that 1, 4, and 5 are the most used chords in any key. The next most used chord after 1, 4, and 5 is the 2 chord. The 2 chord. So, in the key of C, in addition to 1, 4, and 5, the next most used chord is D minor. Okay? And that becomes the basis for our next chord progression. In the key of C, the chord progression that happens a great deal is 2, 5, 1. Now that's in root position, so it sounds kind of strange. 2, 5, 1. But if you play it as a full chord, 2, 5, 1, it's a very familiar sound. In the key of D flat, 2, 5, 1. In the key of D, 2, 5, 1. In the key of E flat, 2, 5, 1. In the key of F, say, 2, 5, 1. In the key of G, it would be 2, 5, 1. Okay, so I urge you to get acquainted with that chord progression because it occurs a lot in music. It's kind of like the 4-5-1, isn't it? The only difference between the 2 and the 4 is one different note. You see they have 2 notes in common. There's the 4 chord in the key of C, there's a 2 chord. So they have those 2 notes in common. So actually a D minor 7th chord, which is used a lot in music, is the same really enharmonic with F6 chord, isn't it? Okay, it's really the same chord inverted. Okay, so that's why it's so important. So memorize that chord progression, 2-5-1 in all 12 keys, or at least in the keys that you want to that you play in a lot. Okay, that's it for today, and tomorrow we'll take up a different chord progression. Bye bye for now.